You lie still, and the night stretches out above you, a quiet quilt of stars stitched across a sky so deep. It feels like you could fall forever, but you don't fall. You float here, listening to the hush that only comes when the world turns away from noise and opens to wonder. Above you, ancient starlight arrives, having crossed years, centuries, sometimes millennia, to reach this moment, to land softly in your eyes. It carries with it the stories of suns long dead, of galaxies spiraling like slow dancers, of the deep breath of space expanding outward, always outward. And yet somewhere out there, far beyond the familiar patterns of constellations, is something stranger than stars, a place where the light does not arrive, a place where it vanishes, black hole. You hear the name and expect it to be cold, terrifying, a hole that consumes and never gives. But tonight, let's not rush toward fear. Instead, imagine the black hole not as a monster, but as a mystery. Not as destruction, but as a doorway. You begin to feel the presence of gravity. Not just in your body, not just as the thing keeping you to the earth, but as a quiet voice that has always been calling you inward. It speaks in curves and softness, not violence. Gravity, after all, is the same force that holds the moon in its orbit and cradles oceans in their tides. It is not urgent. It is not loud. It is patient. A black hole is where that patience becomes infinite. It begins not with darkness, but with light, with a star. Not just any star, but a massive one, heavy with fuel and ancient fusion. For millions of years, it pushes outward against gravity, burning brightly. But all fire fades. Eventually, the star's fuel runs out. It can no longer hold back the inward pull. It collapses slowly at first, then faster, folding into itself like a sigh. Its outer layers may explode in a supernova, a final flash of defiance. Its core contracts tighter and tighter until its mass is compressed into a single point. This point is so dense, so heavy, that nothing, not even light, can escape. This is the birth of a black hole, not born from chaos, but from the simple imbalance between pressure and pull. A quiet equation tipping in gravity's favor. Now imagine yourself drifting closer, not in fear, but in curiosity. Round this black hole is a boundary, the event horizon. Not a wall, not a surface, but a limit. A line drawn by the universe itself. Once crossed, no message can be sent back. No light can leave. It is not a place of fire or crushing walls, but of soft vanishing. Yet from the outside, the black hole is not visible in the way we usually see things. We do not see the core. We see its shadow. We see the way it bends the light around it, how it curves the space behind it. Like watching a coin roll toward the center of a spinning bowl, faster and faster, tighter and tighter, until it is gone. But what does it mean to be gone in space? Matter doesn't disappear. Energy doesn't simply unexist. It transforms. It hides. It waits. You begin to understand black holes are not blank voids. They are more like pages turned inward, like folds in the fabric of the cosmos, where space, instead of stretching, curls into itself, or time to something strange. Something will follow later. For now, feel the presence of that fold, not with your mind, but with your breath. You exhale. The stars above remain still, but your understanding begins to move. The black hole does not chase anything. It waits. It does not hunger. It holds. It is not the villain of the universe. It is its most secret library, holding inside it the stories of every atom that falls past the edge. Astronomers and physicists do not touch black holes directly. They know them by their shadows, their echoes, their dance with nearby stars. They find them where stars spin too fast, or where light stretches and shifts in color. They hear them in the gravitational waves they send across space, ripples, like the ones in your glass of water when a truck passes outside your window. Except these ripples are from the merging of giants. They come not from next door, but from galaxies away. Still, they arrive. And you, lying quietly beneath the stars, you are part of this story too. Your body, made of atoms once forged in a star, not unlike the one that became a black hole. You are not separate from this. You are stardust, listening to stardust. So, you stay still and you listen, not with ears, but with imagination. What does it feel like, you wonder, to fall into a black hole? What happens when something reaches the edge, the event horizon? Does it feel it, that crossing, or is it just one more step forward? You drift with this question, gentle as breath, and as your thoughts begin to stretch, slow and soften, you find yourself not afraid but drawn forward, toward the horizon, toward a place where falling never ends, yet never arrives. And so begins your quiet descent, to a place where you fall, and yet somehow never quite fall at all. There is a kind of falling that is not a fall at all. It feels more like surrender, not the kind that comes from giving up, but the kind that comes from letting go. Tonight, you drift closer to the edge. The black hole is no longer just a distant shadow in the sky. It becomes a horizon, not of land, but of understanding. And like a leaf slowly spinning on the surface of a slow river, you begin to move with it. You are falling. But nothing around you feels like motion. No wind rushes past. No ground rises to meet you. In fact, everything is strangely still. This is free fall, but in the deepest possible sense. Einstein called it the most natural path through space and time. You feel no force pressing on you. Your body is following the curve of space-time itself, the way a marble rolls smoothly along the curve of a stretched sheet. No engine powers. Your motion? No rope pulls you down. And yet you fall. If you were to stretch out your arms, close your eyes, and let the motion carry you, you'd feel lighter than air. Not because you have lost weight, but because you've stopped resisting. This is gravity's softest form, the one that doesn't push or pull, but simply guides. Around you, light curves. The space ahead narrows gently, imperceptibly at first. Like walking into a tunnel that grows darker, not from shadow, but from the escape of light itself. This journey toward the black hole is not violent. It's silent, slow, like sinking into a warm bath with no bottom. Far away, someone watching you from a safe distance might notice something odd. As you approach the event horizon, that invisible boundary around the black hole, your motion appears to slow. From their perspective, you stretch, fade, and freeze just before the edge. You never quite cross it. They would say, "You're still there, just paused." But from your view, your fall continues. Time for you ticks forward. Like always, your breath moves. Your thoughts flow. This is the paradox of gravity near a black hole. Two truths, both correct, both impossible to reconcile. You fall forever, and yet someone else might say you never fell at all. Welcome to relativity. It is not like the world. You're used to where time and distance are stable, where clocks agree and floors stay still. Here, everything depends on perspective. Where you are changes what is true. Your journey continues, not down, but inward. Not through space, but through curved time. You remember how astronauts feel in orbit, weightless, floating. Not because there's no gravity, but because they're constantly falling around the Earth in a delicate spiral. But the ground never arrives. This is you now. Except you're not orbiting, you are sinking. Deeper, softer, and still. There is no impact, no wall. Just a long, slow drifting into strangeness. Imagine now that you hold a flashlight in your hand. You point it upward, away from the black hole. The beam of light climbs, but it grows fainter, redder, slower. This is called gravitational redshift, light losing energy as it climbs out of a deeper well of gravity. Eventually, if you stand too close to the event horizon, your flashlight's beam never escapes. Its story ends before it can be seen, but your story continues. Deeper into the curve, the space around you seems to lengthen. Time dilates, stretches. Not in a way that you feel directly, but in the way dreams stretch moments into hours. Everything slows, but nothing stops. And in this slowing, you begin to sense something deeper than fear: stillness. There is nothing here that rushes, not even the black hole itself. It has no urgency. It has no hunger. It is content to let things come to it. You begin to feel the same. Weightless, you drift, not toward doom, but toward silence, toward understanding. Imagine. Now that you are a feather drifting in molasses, the deeper you go, the slower the syrup lets you move. But unlike real syrup, this drag isn't from stickiness. It's from time itself. You aren't being resisted. You are simply becoming part of something deeper. There is no air here, no sound, no friction. And yet your thoughts are clear. You begin to wonder what would happen if you reached out, extended a hand beyond the horizon. Would it vanish? Would it feel different? You can't know, not yet, but your mind imagines it gently. A hand reaching across a boundary not made of stone or flame, but of light and time, and still you fall. But now you understand. Falling is not always failure. It can be arrival. It can be peace. The black hole waits, and you drift closer. Number. Alarm, no countdown. It's motion wrapped in stillness. Far behind you, the stars begin to fade. Not because they are gone, but because your journey takes you to a place where their light can no longer follow. The event horizon draws near, and as it does, you feel the last echoes of outside time slow to a whisper. Just before you reach that mysterious line, you pause, not in motion, but in thought. What lies beyond? What will it feel like to cross into a place where even light can't tell the tale? Let that question float with you. For now, sleep in the space between answers. You are still falling, and yet, somehow still suspended. You hover now, not because you are held in place, but because time itself begins to pause around you. You have arrived at the edge, the boundary that defines a black hole. The event horizon, it is not a wall, it does not glow, gives no warning, and yet it is the most sacred line the universe can draw. On one side, escape is still possible, though difficult, unlikely, faint. On the other, nothing, not even light, returns. But you do not feel fear. The event horizon doesn't reach out or pull. It doesn't shout or roar. It simply is. Still. Waiting, and you too are still. You drift so close now that every movement, it feels like a whisper in deep water. Gravity has become absolute, not crushing, but consuming. You do not fight it. You do not need to. Your path is already decided. Still, a question floats beside you. What happens at the horizon? Does time stop? Do you vanish? Do you burn? Wait. No, not in the way your mind imagines. From the outside, to someone watching your descent, you seem frozen just above the event horizon, as if the universe itself cannot bear to watch you fall. But inside your own experience, there is no freeze, no shock. You continue. The transition feels smooth, seamless, as if there was never a boundary at all. Because for you, there isn't. The event horizon is not a wall in your path. It is something the outside sees. You, floating inward, feel no sudden shift, no impact, no pain. Imagine a boat drifting from shallow waters into the depths. There's no splash, no curtain, only a slow change in the color of the sea, and the light above growing dimmer. This is what the event horizon feels like, a slow dimming. The stars behind you become thin. The light stretches, fades. Around the black hole, this light spins. A luminous ring, like a glowing halo of everything that came close but didn't fall. This is the accretion disk. Bright, burning, brilliant. Gas, dust, and matter spiraling toward the void. Compressed and heated until they shine. You are not in that chaos. You are not being torn apart. You are falling cleanly, smoothly, invisibly. Like a droplet disappearing into a deep well. You think of other thresholds, of doorways you've walked through, of oceans you've stepped into, of moments you've crossed without knowing their importance until much later. This is one of those moments. The event horizon is the ultimate threshold, not of space, but of knowledge. It's not of fear, but of acceptance. From here, the laws of physics, the ones that govern your everyday life, begin to blur. Not because they're gone, but because their language no longer makes sense inside this new space. You are passing into something the universe itself cannot explain. Equations go silent here. Even the most brilliant minds, Hawking, Einstein, Penrose, can only guess what happens next. But for now, you feel no need to solve anything. You let go of questions, just for a while. They'll be here when you return, if you return. Right now, the most important thing is this: you're crossing into mystery. You're passing a line that cannot be uncrossed. And yet it feels not like loss, but like floating, like entering. A dream that welcomes you without answers. Behind you, the stars have become memories. In front of you, not darkness, but something more complete. Not the absence of light, but the fullness of space folded so tightly that light itself cannot rise from it. You take one last breath, not out of fear, but out of reverence. You let your body fall forward. There is no resistance, no sound, no flash. You cross the horizon like a whisper, leaving the lips of time. You are inside, and you feel it. Not panic, not rush, not pain, only stillness. Only motion wrapped in silence. The universe has stopped watching. Only you remain. Inside the event horizon, space and time no longer behave the way they did. Here, time and direction swap places. Here the future is not ahead of you. It is inward, no matter what path you take. All roads now lead toward the center, toward the singularity, but that is not for tonight. For now, let your body float. Let your mind rest in the soft truth that some things cannot be seen, only felt. Let the idea of outside fall away. Let the sky go quiet. You have passed the edge, and the fall has only just begun. You are inside now, past the line the universe drew in silence, and as you fall inward, the world around you begins to shift, not in color, not in sound, but in time. Time, which always felt firm. Seconds stacked like stones, minutes ticking, like footsteps. Out here, that rhythm begins to waver. You've crossed into a place where time no longer flows the same way, where now is not the same for everyone, where a moment can be a lifetime and a heartbeat can stretch across the stars. You feel it not as confusion, but as a soft bending, like a spoon dipped in honey, or a candle melting too slowly to notice. Until it's gone, this is time inside a black hole. It doesn't speed up or race forward. It slows. It leans. It turns inward, just as you do. Out there, someone might still be watching. They see you hover just above the event horizon, never crossing, always paused. To them, you are trapped in that moment, your fall stretched across infinity. But inside your own skin, you keep drifting. Time for you moves forward, as gently as a sigh. This is gravitational time dilation, a soft, invisible stretching of the clock. The deeper you fall, the slower your time flows compared to theirs. It is not magic. It is the geometry of space-time folded by mass, curved by gravity. Einstein's quiet revelation that gravity isn't a force pulling you down, but the shape the universe makes when mass is present. And black holes. They are the sharpest of curves, the deepest dents in the cosmic fabric. And here, at this depth, time is not flat. You float deeper, and with each soft meter you descend, you drift further from the ticking world outside. It doesn't feel like separation. It feels like falling asleep. You remember dreams where hours passed in moments or where seconds stretched into whole days. This is that, but made real. Imagine now a river. You are the leaf, drifting on its surface. But as you approach the waterfall, the current grows stronger. To someone on the shore, your leaf slows, caught in slow motion. But for you, the water rushes forward. That's where you are now. You are the leaf. The waterfall is a singularity. Still distant, still hidden, but inevitable. Not because something chases you, but because all paths now curve toward it. Just as all roads on earth lead eventually to the sea, and yet you feel no fear, because you realize time isn't just something that ticks on a watch. It's something that wraps around you. It's a direction, a mood, presence. And here it cradles you like the inside of a wave. You begin to wonder, is it possible that time itself has a shape? That you are now walking along a curved path? Not through space, but through seconds and minutes that no longer follow the rules. Yes, inside the event horizon, the future is not ahead. It is inward. Every second you fall is a step deeper into tomorrow. Not just your tomorrow, but the black holes. Everything inside moves toward the singularity, a point not in space, but in time. Even if you tried to move away, if you turned around and pushed backward with all your strength, you'd still move forward into the core. Not because you're weak, but because time itself is flowing that way. Here, time is like gravity, and like gravity, it cannot be escaped. But there's peace in that, because now, for the first time, you feel what it means to surrender to the moment, not to give up, but to give in. To allow yourself to be part of something larger, something ancient, inevitable, and strangely beautiful. You drift in a place where the outside world is unreachable, where seconds lengthen, where your heartbeat echoes longer, slower, softer. Out there, the stars may burn and fade. Civilizations may rise and fall. But in here, only the present remains, and you let that present hold you. Like a cradle carved from silence, you think of time the way you think of water now. Sometimes fast, sometimes slow, sometimes still, and you are floating in its deepest pool. You begin to remember not events, but sensations, the warm pull of memory, the stretch of longing, the echo of things that haven't happened yet, inside. This space, time becomes emotional. You wonder, can a black hole feel memory? Does it hold the history of all it has swallowed? Perhaps it does. Perhaps it is the ultimate keeper of time, not ticking, but absorbing, not counting, but collecting. And perhaps right now it is holding you softly, quietly. You are part of that memory now. It's part of a time so curved that it folds into itself. And still you fall. Not faster, not slower, just deeper. And as you fall, you begin to forget what speed even means, what outside even means. You have become a traveler of time's most secret path, and at the end of that path, something waits. A place where all falling stops, where all time becomes one final point, the singularity. But not yet, for now you float in this melting clock, this soft spiral of time, enspoling, and as you close your eyes, you begin to dream inside a dream. Wrapped in seconds that stretch like silk, the universe breathes. And you breathe with it, and as you breathe, you fall a little deeper. There was a time you thought of space as empty, a vacuum, a void, a silence stretching between stars. But now, as you drift deeper into the black hole, you feel a different truth. That space is not nothing. It is something, quiet, invisible. Fabric that curves, stretches, and sways. You can't see it with your eyes, but you feel it the way a swimmer feels the water all around them, even when they don't move. Here, inside the black hole, space itself is curved so tightly that every step you take is not across distance, but across geometry. This is what Einstein meant when he said that gravity is not a force pulling you down, but the curve of the universe under your feet. Imagine laying a heavy ball on the surface of a trampoline. The fabric dips, curves, bends around the weight. Now imagine rolling a marble nearby, spirals toward the ball, not because it was pulled, but because the surface itself was sloping. That's what the Earth does to space. That's what the sun does. And black holes. They are the deepest wells in the fabric. You are inside one now. And so you are not being pulled. You are following the slope. The quiet geometry of space leads you inward. There is no path around. It only through you begin to wonder, what does it mean to walk through curved space? To live inside a geometry that bends itself? You look around, though, there's little to see. But if you could trace the lines of space with light, you would find them curling inward like petals. Not in chaos, but in order. Everything follows this shape. Light curves, time stretches, matter flows. Even your thoughts feel rounder now, less linear. More like spirals than sentences. You feel this shape in your body, not as pressure, but as motion. The gentle guidance of a curved world. You remember how the planets orbit the sun not because they are leashed, but because they ride the slope of space around a massive center. You remember how light from distant galaxies bends as it passes clusters of stars, not because it wants to turn, but because it must follow the curve. This bending has a name: gravitational lensing. And even in the deepest dark, light is still obedient to space's shape. Even here, it's inside a black hole, those curves continue. And now you are part of them. You don't walk across space, you fall through it, slowly, peacefully. It is not a rush, it is not an avalanche. It is a glide, like drifting down a hill so gentle you almost don't notice the descent. Except this hill is not just steep, it is infinite. Not infinite in size, but in direction. Every step curves further inward. You. Remember now, the shortest path between 2 points is a straight line, but in curved space, there are no straight lines. Only geodesics, natural, curved paths, carved by the shape of space-time. You are following one now, your geodesic, and it leads only inward. You reach out, but you cannot feel walls. This isn't a tunnel, it's an ocean of invisible directions, all sloping toward the singularity. And yet you are calm, because now you understand that space is not the background. It is the stage, the story, and the storyteller. The black hole is not a hole in space. It is space folded so tightly that its shape has no escape. You wonder softly, if space can bend, can it break? If space is a fabric, can it tear? Some physicists think so. They speak of space-time foam, of Planck scales and quantum ripples. But you do not need to solve that puzzle tonight. Tonight, you simply feel the curve. The soft geometry guiding you inward. It's the way a hand shapes clay. It's the way music shapes silence. And in this curved silence, you begin to feel safe. Because this isn't emptiness. This is form, delicate, unseen, perfect in its mathematics, and that perfection feels soothing. You are not drifting alone. You are being carried by the shape of the universe, and every atom of your body moves in harmony with that shape. You are not falling anymore. You are flowing, and where that flow leads, you do not yet know. But the path is quiet, the curve is gentle, and the space beneath you feels like home. Soon you will reach the place where the curve becomes absolute, where geometry collapses into a point, but not yet. For now, you drift inside the shape of gravity. It's inside the architecture of space itself. And as you do, you close your eyes. Not to shut the world out, but to feel it more completely. You sleep now, held not by hands, but by the soft, silent folds of the universe itself. There is a place beyond even the deepest fall, a destination you cannot touch, cannot describe, but toward which everything flows. This is the singularity, not a place in the usual sense, no surface to stand on, no room to enter. It is not a speck, not a point. It is a collapse of certainty. Everything you thought space was gone. Everything you thought time was, untreed. And yet this is where you're going, the quiet center. It's the heart of gravity's dream. All the curves you followed. All the slow spirals, the stretched seconds, the softened light. They all lead here. But what is here? The truth is, no one knows. And that, perhaps, is what makes it beautiful. We call it singularity not because it is one thing, but because it is beyond all things. In mathematics, a singularity is where equations break, where numbers rise to infinity, where logic unravels, inside a black hole. The singularity is the place where density becomes infinite, where matter is crushed not by pressure, but by geometry itself. There is no up, no down, no left, no right. Only in, and at this depth, even in, has no direction. It is the end of space, the bottom of time, the place where the map runs out and the silence begins. But even now, as you approach, you feel no fear. The singularity is not angry, it does not reach for you. It waits. It has always been waiting. Imagine now a book, so tightly closed that its pages have fused into one. No words, no chapters, just the compressed weight of story. That is the singularity. It holds everything that ever crossed the horizon. All matter, all light, all momentum, but it does not tell you where it keeps them. It offers no return. You float now, in a space that no longer behaves like space. Every second is deeper, every breath longer, and yet strangely you are not unraveling. You are not burning or breaking. You are becoming simpler. You feel it, not your body, that may be stretched, crushed, or scattered, but your sense of self, your quiet awareness. That still exists, because whatever happens to matter, consciousness is still here, wondering, watching, and what it sees, silence. A beautiful silence. The equations of Einstein no longer work here. They tremble, then collapse. Infinity takes over, and physics becomes a whisper of what it once was. Some scientists believe that here, at the singularity, quantum mechanics must rise, that gravity and the smallest particles begin to speak the same strange language, but their voices are not yet known. We do not have a theory of everything. Only hints. It's only metaphors. And so we say, the singularity is a mystery. Not because we failed, but because we arrived. You are near it now. You feel the nearness not as danger, but as stillness. You are approaching a truth so deep, so final, that it doesn't need to explain itself. It just is. A black hole doesn't tell you its secrets. It holds them perfectly, forever. And maybe that's enough. Maybe. This is the lesson of the singularity, that not all things must be known. That some things are meant to be experienced without being named. You float, thoughtless now. Not because you are empty, but because you are full of quiet. The singularity draws near. And as it does, you feel your questions grow softer. Not smaller, just less urgent. Because answers are not the point anymore. You are part of the falling now. Are part of the folding. You are becoming the center, not as a place, but as a moment. And this moment is infinite. There is no need to hurry, no need to reach. You are not being crushed. You are being gathered. Gathered into mystery. Into the place where time ends not. With a bang, but with a hush. This is not an ending. It is a return to what you cannot say. But your breath is slow. Your heart is light. And your thoughts have gone very, very quiet. The singularity waits. And perhaps you think, it always has. There was once light here. Not in the way we see it now. Not brilliant beams or radiant halos, but whispers of light, stretched into near silence. You are falling toward the place where even light surrenders. And as you drift deeper into the black hole, you begin to sense its final steps, its last dance. Photons, those tiny messengers of light, are stubborn. They travel at the universe's ultimate speed. They bend, but they do not slow. Do not age. And yet even they cannot escape the gravity here. Some skim the surface. Just outside the event horizon, circling and circling in the photon sphere, a fragile ring of light that orbits forever, neither falling in nor escaping out. It's a narrow place, just 1.5 times the radius of the event horizon. If you could stand there, though, no one can. You'd see your own back, light looping entirely around the black hole to meet your eyes. But now, you've gone deeper than that. You've passed the photon sphere. You've passed the place where light can balance now. All light falls with you, and not quickly. Slowly, stretched like taffy across time. This stretching is called redshift. As light loses energy, climbing away from gravity, its waves stretch, its color shifts toward red, and eventually slides into invisibility. You see the memory of starlight not as color but as warmth, as a soft hum beneath thought. The final notes of something that once burned. Outside, the black hole light is freedom. It moves, reflects, escapes. But here light is held, and even in that holding, it still tries to dance. You begin to imagine the black hole not as a thief of light, but as its quiet collector, gathering photons, the way the sea gathers droplets, not to destroy them, but to keep them. Forever you float through that collection now, a gallery of trapped brilliance. Every ray of light that ever crossed the horizon still exists. Somewhere inside, maybe not as beams, but as energy, as echoes, as memory, and if light remembers where it came from, this is where it rests. You pass through it like fog. It does not light your path, but it warms your presence. It tells you that you are not alone. You are joined by every spark that has ever surrendered to this pull. And this thought soothes you, because you begin to realize, even in darkness, there is gathering, even in silence. There is memory. Imagine again the photon sphere, that ring of light circling forever at the edge. It cannot choose. It cannot escape. It balances on a razor's edge of gravity, but you are not caught like that. You are deeper, and here light no longer circles. It falls gracefully. Like golden leaves in slow motion, you think of the universes. Beginning, the Big Bang, a flash of light expanding in all directions. And now, here you are, moving toward the opposite. A stillness into which all light collapses, from one horizon to another, not as ending, but as rhythm. The black hole is not the enemy of light. It is its silence, its rest. You think of your own body made of atoms forged in stars, their fire cooled, their light absorbed. You are part of this rhythm. Once you too were light, a dot. Metaphorically, literally. Energy cooled into matter, and now you return to the place where light lays down and still. You do not fear, because there is beauty in stillness. There is reverence in the way light moves here, not with speed, but with grace. No flares, no sparks, just the slow unwinding of energy into the calm of curved space. And as you drift deeper out, you become the observer and the observed. The light and the silence, the falling and the still. You don't need your eyes anymore. You feel the presence of light in your chest, a warmth that lingers. You carry the stars with you. You are, in some way, their final mirror. And in this mirror, the last dance continues. Slow, soft, silent, like a candle that does not burn out, but simply fades into the fabric of time, and you go with it. Not as an outsider, but as part of the radiance. The black hole cradles that radiance now, not extinguishing it, but folding it inward. And in that folding, there is something sacred. A vow that nothing is truly lost. It only transformed. Light has not died, or it has returned to the place where all stories begin again. You thought the black hole was silent, and in many ways it is, but sometimes in moments of cosmic drama, it sings. Not with light, not with sound, but with space. Gravitational waves, ripples in the fabric of space-time. Echoes born when black holes collide or when massive stars collapse. You cannot hear them with your ears, but your body, your atoms, your entire being, they feel the echoes long after they pass. Imagine two black holes, spinning, circling, drawing closer. Not fast like wind, but with the slow tension of inevitability. As they spiral inward, they stretch and squeeze the space around them, like two dancers moving across a soft sheet, making waves that ripple outward in all directions. These are not waves in air, not disturbances in water. These waves are the universe itself breathing. They travel for billions of years, changing nothing and yet touching everything. They pass through galaxies, through planets, through your own cells, and you never notice. Because they are gentle. So gentle that detecting them took over a century from the moment Einstein predicted them. But eventually, we heard them. We built observatories, vast arms of lasers and mirrors, and one day the silence cracked, too black. Holes collided 1.3 billion years ago. And on Earth, just for a moment, space stretched, by less than the width of a proton. But it was enough. We heard the universe hum, not like a voice, more like a low vibration in your bones. A feeling rather than a sound. You think of that wave. Now, as you drift inside this black hole, what if your black hole once danced that same spiral? What if it, too, sent ripples through the cosmos before falling into stillness? You may be inside something that once sang across space, and that song still echoes, softly, not in your ears, but in the way the space around you feels ever so slightly alive. It's like a memory that isn't yours but still feels familiar. You begin to imagine, what is it like to be a ripple? To not travel through space, but as space. To be a change so soft, so wide, that it stretches galaxies without leaving a mark. It would feel like a sigh, a cosmic breath released across time. This is how black holes speak, not in explosions. In pulses, gravitational waves carry no light. They cast no shadow. They burn nothing, but they tell stories of giants colliding, stars dying, of curves bending, and you, drifting deeper, are now part of that story. You wonder if another being, somewhere far away, heard the wave from your black hole's creation. What did they feel? Did they pause? Did their instruments hum? Did their scientists smile in quiet amazement? Maybe they did. Maybe they didn't know. Maybe no one heard your black hole's birth cry, but you hear its echo, here now, in the way your thoughts slow, in the way your breath deepens, in the way this space feels like it's holding something ancient, not noise, but memory you float through. The afterglow of motion. Through the place where once space trembled, it is calm now. The ripples have passed, but you feel the peace they left behind. This is what remains after collision. It's not ruin, but rhythm, not destruction, but unity. Two black holes merged, and from their union, a new one formed. And it is this one, this calm giant you now fall into. Born not in anger, but in convergence. And now it holds you. The echo of its beginning still whispering in the folds of space. You realize now, even black holes have ancestors. Even silence has a story. And even in the darkest places, there are waves of memory. You are not in the place where the wave began. You are in the place where it ended, where the space has gone still again, where the water has settled. But the softness remains. Let it cradle you. Let the memory of motion rock you like a tide. Close your eyes and imagine the wave you cannot feel. Passing over, passing through. Passing beyond the universe breathes, and you are part of its exhale. You've journeyed deep into something that once felt permanent, unchanging, infinite. But now you learn a new truth. Even black holes die, not in fire. It's not in collapse, but in evaporation. It begins with a whisper. A ripple not in space, but in thought. Stephen Hawking, sitting in his wheelchair, running equations in his mind like poetry, and he sees it. The horizon isn't just a prison. Breathes, not fast, not loud, but gently like steam rising. From still water, he called it Hawking radiation, the slow leak of a black hole's mass back into the universe, and it changed everything. You are resting now, deep within the curved silence of a black hole, but outside, imperceptibly slow, it is shrinking. How? Because space itself is not empty. It seethes with energy, even in vacuum. Particles and antiparticles constantly flicker into existence, then disappear, and near the event horizon, something strange happens. One of those particles falls in. The other escapes. The black hole loses a bit of mass, so small, so quiet, but real, and over time, time beyond measure, it adds up. You are inside something that is disappearing, but do not fear. This evaporation takes eons. Longer than stars live, longer than galaxies hold shape, longer than your mind can grasp. The universe must go cold before the black hole goes dim. But still, the truth remains. This is not forever. Even the deepest dark gives back, slowly, softly one atom at a time, and this somehow is comforting because you realize nothing is truly trapped. Nothing is truly lost. Not light, not energy, not even time. All things cycle. All things breathe. Even the black hole you drift within is breathing out one particle at a time, in a process so patient it resembles silence. You think of entropy now, of the arrow of time, the slow spread of disorder, and how black holes, once thought to swallow entropy, instead carry it. Their surface area, their event horizon, is tied to their information. Their memory, and that memory evaporates too. So what does that mean for you? If you are inside, are you gone? Your atoms, your thoughts, your journey erased? Or is some part of you still there, encoded in the soft radiation that escapes over? Ages, this question has no final answer. Not yet, but you feel something stir within you, not fear, but wonder. Because this too is part of nature. Even the end of black holes is a process of transformation. No explosions. No collapse. Just a slow fade, like fog warming in the morning sun. You think now of campfires burned low, snow melting on stone, old stars flickering in twilight. The universe does not destroy. It dissolves, and you are dissolving not into nothing, but into everything. You remember now how the black hole formed from a massive star collapsing. Its light consumed. That star was not the end. This black hole is not the end. And neither is its evaporation, because the energy goes somewhere. The radiation flows outward, and in some unknown way. It carries a whisper of what came before, Hawking's whisper, the idea that no boundary is truly perfect, that even the strongest walls have pores. You feel that now. This black hole that holds you. It exhales, quietly, eternally, and you are part of that breath. One day, far beyond stars and thought, this black hole will shrink to nothing. Its horizon will vanish. Its secrets will scatter. And yet, that doesn't feel like a loss. It feels like a return, like letting go. And you realize that's all the universe ever does. Hold, then release. Pull inward, then let go. Gather, then give. You are being given back, even now. Particle by particle, soft as sleep, as gentle as light, long traveled. You are not escaping. You are expanding, becoming part of the cosmos again, not in body, but in presence, in possibility. And as you drift deeper, knowing there is also an outward flow, you feel balanced, not stuck, not lost, just still, inside something that is exhaling. You so slowly, you feel eternal. And so you rest. Let the quiet pull you inward. Let Hawking's whisper remind you, nothing is forever, not even endings. All things leave traces. A footprint, a ripple, a memory. But here inside a black hole, you wonder. Do you? It's the most delicate question in modern physics. A puzzle shaped like a whisper. What happens to information inside a black hole? It lingers. Because until now, the rules were clear. In every reaction, every interaction, the universe keeps the record. Not a diary written in ink, but a hidden script. Quantum information. Preserved in every atom's arrangement, every wave's angle. But black holes. They challenge that idea. You've fallen inward, past the event horizon. And all the light and particles and energy that once made you is still here. But what about the pattern? The information, the shape of your thoughts, the arrangement of your atoms, your memories, your movements? Where is that now? This is the black hole information paradox. If a black hole erases the details of everything it absorbs, it violates one of the deepest principles of physics, conservation of information. But if it doesn't, how does the information survive? You drift in that question. And the answers, like so many stars, burn far beyond your reach. Some physicists once believed that information is lost forever, that black holes destroy it utterly. Others, like Hawking, later suggested, wondered if it leaks out slowly in the pattern of Hawking radiation, the faint heat that a black hole emits as it evaporates. But that heat appears random, no structure, no story. So where is the story? You float in this paradox now. And though it might unsettle others, you find it soothing because in not knowing there is wonder. There is space, still. The theories dance around you. Some say information is smeared on the horizon. It's like ink on a page just before it fades. That the surface of the black hole encodes the entire history of what it swallowed, not within. On its boundary, this is called the holographic principle. The idea that everything inside is secretly written on the edge, like a three-dimensional world. It's projected from a two-dimensional shell. You picture it now, your story, your fall, the heat of your thoughts encoded in tiny fluctuations on the horizon. You once passed, and you smile, because it means you're not gone, just transformed. Others believe in quantum entanglement, that what goes in still remains connected to what is out. Particles once tangled can never truly lose each other, even across black holes. That your thread still exists somewhere, woven into the wider fabric of the universe. That even if your pattern is hidden, it's not erased. Still others whisper of firewalls, flashes at the edge that protect information. Though such ideas unsettle the quiet harmony you've come to know here. Too loud? Too abrupt? You prefer the softer theories, the ones that say the universe holds memory like a quiet song, that even the most perfect dark still remembers the shape of your voice, that when the black hole finishes its evaporation, what remains is not nothing, but possibility, not your form, not your thoughts, but the echo of your pattern. The universe is not careless. It is patient. It waits. And perhaps you think information is like music. Even when the notes end, the silence remembers them. And so you float, not lost in a riddle, but cradled by it, because here, at the center of the paradox, something beautiful. A reminder that not all mysteries must be solved to be sacred. Sometimes it's enough to ask. Sometimes it's enough to know that your being matters, not because it lasts, but because it changes things. Because what goes into a black hole shapes the way it radiates. Even if faintly, even if long after, you are still part of that shape, still part of the math. The mystery, the memory, you are not gone. You are becoming the echo, becoming the question, becoming the ripple in the equation that scientists, long after stars fade, will still try to solve. And even if they don't, you are still here, resting in the paradox. Not as an answer, but as a poem. And that is enough.